My name is Bob Chase, and along with my wife, Murph, this is the story, I guess, of the life that we created for us and others. Well, as of the beginning of my life, it was a little town called Negaunee, Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula. Born January 22nd, 1926. And as you can well know, those were economic hard times. And of course, the first year I didn't realize it. But as I grew older, I grew up as a Depression baby. We didn't know any different. We just had a wonderful time. We ate whatever Ma could find to cook and whatever Dad could shoot and drag home. And I moved from Negaunee. My father was a hydroelectric engineer. We moved into another power station, which was near Marquette, Michigan. And that's basically where my growing really took place. We moved into Marquette. I was 5 years old. And they figured they had to find a job closer to the city because I was getting of school age. And of course, after high school, I had no choice to make whatsoever because it was World War II time. The only choice I had to make was stick around, get drafted, or volunteer and go where I wanted. Well, I'd always been a waterfaring person. I was a Sea Scout. From the time we were kids, we lived on the water. And everything we did was seafaring oriented. So I enlisted in the Navy when I turned 17 on what they called a kiddie car cruise. And in those days, it didn't make much difference. The war was on. And the thing that changed my life around, I met Murph, and I chased her from one end of the peninsula to the other. I mean to tell you, you had to get in line, really. You did, really. And somehow through it all, I was the winner. And that was in the late 40s after the war. And then in 1950, I decided, it's time to pop the question, which I did. And she said, I'll tell you what, I agree, let's get married, but I want you to go back to college, which I did. And once I got back there, I graduated with almost honors, but I had a heck of a time getting the grade point up from the hole I'd put myself in the early stages. At that time, a friend of mine wondered if I would like to try going down to the local radio station and going on the air. I had no idea I was going to make a career of it, but I figured, hey, it's a job, and boy, my jobs were near and dear. So I went down, began to work at the radio station there, and shortly thereafter, a friend of mine was married, and I was in his wedding party, and his aunt was from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I went back to do a noon news schedule while they were on the way to the reception. She heard me, came to Fort Wayne, and she was very friendly with the management of WOWO. And to make a long story short, middle of June 1953, come down, I auditioned, start July 1, 1953, and now we're 56 years later. And it's just been an incredible, incredible trip. Elvis Presley was an early comer to the station, but we were on the cutting edge of all the successful golden era of modern radio, and it all happened because of Westinghouse Broadcasting. And it was such a privilege, to be a part of that all the way through. And I was anointed as the sports director of the station, and also, here's Comet hockey, and away we go, which led from that point on to an incredible career in sports. Who would have thought, back in Marquette, Michigan in the mid-30s, I'd be doing this? It was a dream. Everything was a dream in its own right. I get kind of wound up. But those are stories of my life. Fairy tale stories, all of them, It's just, it's a great ride. And the whole thing couldn't have been accomplished without Murph. We ended up with 4 kids, Michael to start with, and then 2 other boys, that would have been, of course, Kurt and David and one daughter, Karen, and they have all, in their own way, made their own way in their lives. We've been a part of it. And in fact, we're still a part of it. But I mean, the kids have been exceptional. They've all been very successful in their own right. And they've given us grandkids, beautiful grandkids. And now we also have 4 great grandkids, and they're all boys. Everything we've done, we've shared. And the kids the same way. And I think they've grown up watching us and how we have become more compatible as time goes on. Sometimes it takes a long time in a relationship before you become friends. You can love each other to death, but all of a sudden there's a hurdle you pass when all of a sudden your whole life opens up one to the other, and you're not just lovers with great admiration, you're suddenly friends to go with it. And man, when it gets there, it gets no better. Looking at what I've done now and where I am now, I really couldn't think of a much better place to be than where I am now. The nice thing about Murph was, and the kids, our drive was not to be a millionaire. Our drive was to have fun, be comfortable, enjoy the things that we liked, not to go to excess. We never had that drive where we had to, beat the Joneses down the block, do this, do that. We lived within ourselves and enjoyed ourselves. And the way our lives have turned out, wow, I don't know why I'd want to change anything. It's all been too darn good. Well, I suppose when all is said and done, and we're set to pass on. I don't know where my passage will take me, but I have hopes of where I want to go. And the thing is, I always loved my family, and that's what I want to be remembered for, is the good times we had, the places we've been, the things I've done. And, I'm so thankful that I've had the opportunity I've had with a station to be involved with so many people, thousands over the lifetime of my career. And I hope I've left them a little something good, and I hope they remember me as a good guy. Your legacy is in your family, and our legacy is just incredible. Everyone has been individual. They've had their own thing, they did their own thing, were good at doing their own thing, and still never forgot their roots, which was mom and dad. They took a lot of us with them. You can see it in the way they treat their kids and their family. And their families, couldn't really have been any better had Mom and I done it. Now understand this, kids, what we're saying. We mean that you guys are the people who we created, and we feel so blessed, honored, and awed by it. We're just thankful the good Lord let us have you as the people who keep our memories going. We love you. We wouldn't have it any other way. You are the salt of the earth. Now remember, don't wrinkle my pants, no.
Ooh, my glasses.
Ooh, you want...
Should I take my glasses off?
Is it okay? The one thing that I forgot to tell you about, this is Murph. She's the lady who made it all happen.
Tell them what my real name is.
Her real name is Muriel Drusilla Chase Wallenstein. And I love you, honey.
Okay.
We used to kiss bigger than that, now we're old. See? But this is the lady that made all our lives, and she's the queen.
You're the king. King of them.